Team six, mine was the Chinese higher ed, solvable challenges, which really related into 1 year. They're very solvable. Blended formal and non-formal learning and improving digital literacy, which seem like trends across the world. So very consistent problems that can be fixed within a year's time. The difficult challenges, which can be fixed between 2 to 3 years, are all this data that we have in education and managing, especially in China, higher ed, managing the big data so that development of students through their grad programs and undergrad programs can be assessed and consequently predict their development as they go through their programs. 5 years and over, a big wicked challenge here, balancing connected and unconnected lives in China, Chinese higher education, and I'd imagine K through 12 as well, is very difficult to overcome, and they're working on that over 5 years of allowing students to be able to reflect on all this technology they're using, especially in China. It's the world's leading use of mobile technology. So that's 5+ years.
For the Library 2017 report, the time to adopt Horizon in 1 year or less is digital scholarship technology, like digital media archives, websites, online academic journals, and digital exhibits. The time to adopt Horizon of 2 to 3 years are library service platforms, which means automation of library duties like checking out books, software that lists due dates and late fees, and the tracking of orders. And the time to adapt Horizon of 4 to 5 years is the Internet of Things, such as environmental monitoring devices, media tracking devices, and connected smartphone apps.
When I looked at the higher education edition, what caught my eye was looking at the sections of policy and leadership in the areas when they talked about the trends. And a big time trend is the blended learning that hasn't stopped. It has been continuing, although it has been abandoned by some of the K-2 through 12. It's not a top priority. It's not something that's trending. So one of the reasons might be is because there's so many core changes in the universities. They're implementing policies such as faculty development strategies for curriculum changes and new financing structures. And another leading trend is collaborative learning. And the way that looks like as a technology trend is with institutes being created, such as the Education USA Leadership Institute. It's a global thing. It encompasses so many different areas and careers. Global Innovation Exchange graduate program for Chinese and U.S. students. So they are actually, there's a space that they share in a university where they can communicate and they can create this program. And the GPS initiative flags students' academic mistakes and advisor intervenes at the time. So they're collaborating in that manner.
I'm going over is the Horizon report over educational technology K through 12. And in 1 year or less, time for adoption is makerspaces. They're now in many libraries, and they teach kids 21st century skills through hands-on activities and that kind of thing. Robotics. The robotics will be used in future industry. They're being heavily used right now, so we must prepare kids for it. And teachers in the classroom are using it to augment instruction, but not really using it to apply to anything. And a lot of coding and that kind of thing goes into robotics. For 2 to 3 years is analytics technology. And the more and more we use learning management systems and we collect the data from those with fidelity, then it'll encourage more analytics technologies to be used and to actually to drive instruction in the future. In virtual reality, it gives kids the ability to go on field trips within their own classroom, which will help close the achievement gap in low-income students also. And then finally, in artificial intelligence, it's meant to make, in usage in education, it's automating more tedious tasks for teachers, and we need to make sure we're talking about ethical concerns in the future for those things also. And finally, Internet of Things, for 4 to 5 years, a lot of devices that we already have collect data and that kind of thing, and basically a lot more devices are going to. And in education, we need to make sure that we're utilizing that to drive instruction as well.